Good YouTube? It's your boy Insight motherfucking 11, man. We back at you again with another powerful video talking about living in the past, for the past, in the present moment. You know, the mind accumulates awareness, accumulates experiences, accumulates thoughts, accumulates feelings. Now, when you came to this world, when you came into this realm, you was bombarded with certain energies, certain thoughts, certain feelings that your mind has received from the external environment, and your mind may build itself around those experiences and stuff like that. So a lot of the times, the experiences we have from our childhood to growing up to the age of 12, 13, whatever it is, will kind of make up who is it that we are when it comes to our relationship with ourselves and our relationship to the world, how we view ourselves, how we see ourselves, aka our self-image. And our self-image is the behaviors, the habits, the external things, the external behavior that we exude that is symbolic of our internal disposition and who we are. Now, when you're living in the past, for the past and the present, what this means is that the observer is observing lights, awarenesses that are actually byproducts, offsprings of a deeper subconscious well of emotion, a facet of self that observer may have not explored about themselves, so they don't realize yet that a lot of these thoughts and feelings, a lot of these illusions that the mind be creating just be based upon like past experiences, past events that have already happened. Now here's the thing, right? The mind doesn't like what's unknown. The mind doesn't like new things. The mind only likes what's familiar to it. So we've all been familiarized, we've all been psychologically conditioned to, accept a particular human condition. And this particular human condition is something that we keep playing out knowingly and unknowingly. The thing is, the mind can be so cluttered that we literally normalize our reality, meaning that we accept our life as it is, and we don't really seek to question what's going on within our subconscious, what's going on within our beliefs that is causing us to frame reality from this particular perspective, from this particular angle. Because if we were to investigate this particular angle, if we were to investigate this particular perspective, we would come to find out that this perspective, this thought, this feeling that is emerging to the conscious mind and stuff like that, right, is the result of something that's going on a deeper level, aka the subconscious, unconscious. That's why a lot of the times people have to do this deep spiritual detox in order to let go of a lot of the things that may have accumulated on their mind. Keyword: accumulation. So when you see a snowball accumulating, we have snowballed into a particular reality, particular existence. And a lot of people, fortunately or unfortunately, don't really question where their behaviors, where their habits come from, and don't really question the thoughts and feelings. They don't really question the first reality, which is their mentality, the mind, that is manifesting their physicality, their objective reality. And so what happens is people try to deal with external people, places, and things, and look at that as the source of the problem, rather than, asking themselves from within, well, what is triggering me to think and feel in this particular way? What is triggering me to frame my reality within this particular way? You know what I'm saying? Because the mind is framing things in a particular perspective. And if you don't question that frame that is showing you a particular picture about reality, like, why would you frame things this way? A lot of people have, a negative self-image that doesn't allow them to seek abundance, expand their mind, expand their awareness, go into new experiences and stuff like that. So they end up manifesting and replicating and duplicating the same set of experiences that they've always been experiencing. But a lot of these experiences that we generate is just due to the mind that we need to learn to deal with. So when you do the detox, when you're practicing clairvoyance, when you're clearing your space, when you're not paying attention to these energies, these residues slowly drain away. Now, this draining process takes time, but if you can endure this draining process, what's happening is you're allowing your subconscious, unconscious to literally get that substance, get that influence out of you. This way it's not a part of you. So this way you're not creating from that space any longer. And when you're practicing clairvoyance, what's going on is that you're clearing your mind, you're clearing your space from all influences, from all thoughts, from all feelings. This way you're not bringing together the same thought, the same feeling to create that circumstance. Because what happens when you bring like I don't want to say a proton and an atom, whatever, like, but what happens when you bring a thought and a feeling together? You create a perspective about reality. Now, reality in front of us is just reality is what it is. All successful people have to be disciplined, have to be, resilient, blah, 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 right? But a lot of the times, the way we frame our reality can put us at a perspective where we put ourselves at a disadvantage, where we think like, hey, you know what? Life happens to me. I must suck. God must hate me. Oh, blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing. When you go down that line, you're still going down the rabbit hole. You're still incarnating the same thoughts and feelings. You're still accumulating the same thought, the same feeling that you brought together, and you're letting those thoughts and feelings have more offsprings, have more children. And a lot of these children, a lot of these offsprings mentally that we be having just by engaging in the process of thinking and feeling from a bastardized space. And what I mean by a bastardized space is a lot of the times we be like jumping into, again, past experiences, reliving those things. And when you're reliving those things, you're not allowing yourself to view reality from a clear perspective. Because whatever is happening in front of you is what's happening in front of you. But a lot of the times we dilute what's happening in front of us with our own perspective and stuff like that, right? So you want to be careful of what perspective you uphold. You can either have a perspective that's optimistic, that empowers your reality to propel and prosper forward. You can view yourself as abundant. You can believe in abundance. Then you can create a life of abundance. And abundance is not just about money. Abundance is about knowing that to every problem, there's a solution. But if you put so much belief and time and energy into the problem, then you're just making that problem bigger and bigger. So what's happening here is this is a spirit, this is an observer that's blowing their reality out of proportion. And since the world is what it is, and you're just within your own mind creating thoughts and feelings about reality, literally like putting your spirit in some form of jail of consciousness, jail of light, jail of awareness. Because when you come up with a thought and a feeling and you bombard yourself with these things, and these things are coming up from your subconscious programming and shit like that, and you're painting your reality this way, that's not the only reality that exists. So you gotta learn to be a good painter and shit like that, and have to learn, a lot of the colors that we use to paint our reality be like used colors. It don't be like new. You know what I'm saying? It be used. When I say used, I mean we use past feelings, past thoughts, past experiences that we have endured, and we use these used colors to draw our reality and be like, yeah, baby, this is our reality, and this is what it is, and this is what and that's how it's always gonna be. Only because we're still choosing those old colors. So what is a color? A color is a spectrum. A color is like an energy and shit like that. And a lot of these colors, a lot of these energies that we're using to, be things that are like muddied up, be things that are dirtied up, be things that are, things that really should stay in the past, but we just bring it to the present moment, and we use these things to appraise our reality. But a lot of the times, this just be like the circumstances growing up, the trauma that we have grew up with and stuff like that, the trauma that we have developed, and we have allowed that trauma to accumulate. Now we can develop patterns of thinking, patterns of feeling that are unhealthy or dysfunctional, or are not like, or we can normalize some form of dysfunction, normalize some type of pattern that is not actually benefiting us in reality. And you don't want to normalize a pattern of thought, a pattern of feeling that is not actually benefiting your reality. Like, here's the thing: God's all possibilities. God is all that's possible, right? And if God is all that's possible, then automatically, that gives you access to a new possibility. But if you're just keeping your spirit in this jail of consciousness, in this jail of awareness, in this jail of thoughts and feelings, that a lot of the times, unfortunately, like, fuck Morpheus in the Matrix, but he said some good shit. He said people is in a prison that they can't hear, they can't smell, they can't perceive, because it's literally, people are literally in that jail, and they think that's like their whole reality, and that's their whole world. But a lot of the times, the world that we may be brought up in can be a very small world. It may not be a very expanded world. It may not be a very aware world. So a lot of the times, we have to really question, why are we living from this space that we are living from? Like literally every day you should question your beliefs, because your beliefs are creating your reality. Your beliefs are bleeding into your reality, because these are the substances, these are the thoughts and feelings that we externalize based upon the substance that we have submerged ourselves in, subconsciously and stuff like that. And like I said, a lot of people is not really unconsciously, subconsciously aware of what's going on within their mind, so they end up like living this life and they're in this jail, but they don't understand how they are in jail. In fact, if you're in a 3D body, you're probably, this is jail pretty much. This is just like this body itself, this density itself, this is jail pretty much and shit like that. So when people say they want to kill themselves, they got the right idea, but a lot of the times people that do that come at it from a backwards perspective, where they're just trying to end their life because they've experienced so much pain that they don't want to experience their mind. But what I'm coming at here is the right perspective is to kill your mind, to allow your thoughts and feelings to drain, let go of that shit, shut that shit off, be a good snake, unskin yourself, right? Like get that skin off of you for the day. That's a belief. Boom, that's one layer. The next day, boom, that's another layer. Boom, third day, that's another layer, right? So when I say kill yourself, I mean kill the mind that you in. This way the spirit itself can be more free to go experience more shit. Because a lot of people's spirits just be trapped in their past, be trapped in their early childhood experiences that they use as a point of reference for their reality, right? Because like I said earlier, the mind is not like what's unfamiliar and unknown to it. The mind only likes what's known, what it's been familiarized with, what it has been psychologically conditioned with, because it doesn't want to go into a new space based upon this body being a death, being a survival mechanism, being like, because the body itself just wants to survive. Like if I put my hand on your neck and I choke you, your body's gonna respond. Your body's gonna be like, no, don't end my life. So what is the body? The body's saying, I want to stay in this reality. But the spirit, the spirit want to get out of that mind and go experience a new reality. But see, here's the thing, right? You can't do that unless you first deal with your mind. Because see, there's a reason why you're in a body right now. Because if you was in your soul form, if you was in your spirit form, and you would experience that shit way faster. So look at everything you're experiencing right now in the third dimension and shit like that. And if you would not to have a 3D body, if you wouldn't be like in some type of time, whatever that's on your mind, whatever you're experiencing outwardly, let's say you're getting punked and fucked up by everybody. Let's say everybody's like slapping the shit out of you, everyone's beating you up, man, you ain't shit in the neighborhood. In the spirit world, you would experience that shit fast. You would get beat up by a bunch of spirit. I'm telling you. Because it's like, there's a reason why you're in this timeline. Because there's certain shadow work that you have to do so you can let go of these facets of yourself. Because here's the thing, right? When people like, quote unquote, leave this dimension, their body decay, their body ceases to exist any longer, you're going back to that same mind and you're going to re-experience that same mind and that same reality, hence reincarnation. So that's why we're here. We're learning to get out of the reincarnation wheel, and we're learning to create our own sequence of incarnation. This way we can experience the reality that we want to experience, rather than being trapped in this, in this prison of consciousness, in this prison of light, in this prison of awareness. And it's not, keep in mind, it's not even really consciousness. It's really awareness. Awareness is light, and that's the thing that the spiritual community is referring to as consciousness. But when they say consciousness, a lot of the times they kind of try to get you lost, like you are the mind, like you are the psyche, but you're not that. You're just the spirit. Gotta make sure I look handsome, You're just the spirit experiencing that reality on your mind that you have created, right? And shit like that. And whatever that's on our mind, we're always gonna do with our body. So when you see motherfuckers that's addicted and shit like that, like they need to get that crack, they need to get that hit, they gotta feel high and shit like that, because they trying to get out of their mind and shit. Like, they have developed such a strong mental pattern to the point that like they automatically seek that. They don't even have to like think about it anymore. It's just some automatic behavior that they do, and they're willing to do anything for that desire. You know what I'm saying? Like real shit. So it's like same thing with regular people and stuff like that that have experience, not to compare to the Kraken and shit like that, but the point I'm getting at is that there's a pre-established pattern, there's a pre-configured trajectory, a pre-configured configuration and shit like that, a pattern that a person is abiding and operating on subconsciously, unconsciously, unknowingly, and that's the pattern that's manifesting in their life and stuff like that, right? And a lot of these things we be doing these things just based upon like certain motivations that we have not gotten met when we was younger, certain like, just things that we wanted to do. I mean, and that shit may have gotten rejected when we was at a young age. Like for me, for example, when I was younger, like I was born in a family that didn't think like me, didn't feel like me, didn't share my imagination, nothing. So, in this family, I was kind of like exiled, kind of looked at as like, man, why does this kid not think like us? Is he really our kid? And shit like that. So I had to learn to like be authentic and be cool with myself and shit like that. So I can just really start to go down the spiritual path and purpose and make it okay for me to be me and shit like that. A lot of people don't make it okay for themselves to be themselves, and they let their early childhood experiences block them from embarking on that path of abundance, from that path of authenticity, from that path of purpose and shit like that. So and this is why I'm talking about living in the past, because a lot of the times people try to mimic their early childhood experiences. So people got rejected by their family and shit like that, or whatever it is that happened. They gonna recreate experiences in their present moment of them being rejected just based upon that early childhood subconscious experience that they may have went through when they was younger, using that as a reference point on a subconscious level to create their reality on a conscious level, not knowing that they're bringing a thought and a feeling from a deep subconscious well together to view their circumstance, and that's the reality that they're creating. Because you have to bring together a thought and a feeling to create your current reality, especially if you're stuck in that prison of consciousness, that prison of light, that prison of awareness, that illusion of mind that we create to kind of like keep reliving that shit and shit like that. Man, I had a point. I had a fucking good point and shit like that. Yeah, so this was my point, right? So if you practice clairvoyance and shit like that, you're not gonna be bringing thoughts and feelings together anymore. What you're gonna do is, before even bringing a thought and a feeling, you're gonna allow yourself to experience, then you're gonna come up with a thought and a feeling. Because when you do that, you're not diluting reality with your perspective. You're actually experiencing from a perspective where your mind is light, free of that accumulation of thoughts and feelings that keep your mind stuck in a particular density, aka this body, this death, the mind that your spirit is stuck in, and the density can just be playing out as the accumulation of thoughts and feelings playing out from a subconscious level, expressing that on the conscious level and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So when you're practicing clairvoyance, you're just clearing out your space. This way you're freeing up your mind not to judge things, not to frame reality from that particular perspective that you're coming from when you was younger. Because you gotta remember, you're a spirit. Spirit is all that's possible, meaning that you can create any form, any shape, any form, all types of shit. So why limit yourself to a reality only based upon your past experiences, and only unless you believe in that way more than you believe in yourself? Because you got to look at your experiences as data that has been inputted from the external world. But if you believe in yourself, you go within, you can create whatever reality you want to. But it starts on the mental level, then it plays out on the external level and shit like that. But it all starts with you going within and actually clearing out your energies. This way you're more free, you're more light to go experience reality. Let's say for example, like if I'm at the airport and I have a bunch of luggage with me, I'm carrying my backpack, I'm carrying I got both my hands occupied, my back is occupied. I might be like an Indian carrying a fucking water tub or a watermelon or whatever the fuck on top of my head, or an African or whatever. So my whole mind, my legs, all of my limbs, all of my mind is occupied with what I've already been possessed by, right? But if I'm not putting down these luggage bags, if I'm not putting down my bag, if I'm not taking that watermelon off and shit, whatever it is that may be on top of your head, on top of your mind, in your fucking dome and shit like that, right? You're not gonna be mentally free to go run around and pick up some other luggage, you know? You might find a better bag, you might find better clothes, you might find, better X, Y, and Z than the current reality that you're manifesting. But if you don't put down these thoughts and feelings, then you're not gonna put yourself in the motherfucking space that, you can be, you know, like be light. I'll say reality's too big to, you know, bombard ourselves with past experiences and shit like that we hold on to and endure upon. Here's the thing: I understand that a lot of these things can bind a lot of these thoughts and feelings, and a lot of these experiences from early childhood can be so deeply ingrained in you to the point that like you might not see anything else other than that reality. But it's all a process, ladies and gentlemen. It's all a process. There's no such thing as one day overnight you're a millionaire, unless you're scamming or doing some weird shit, or you get or Donald Trump is your cousin or whatever like that, right? But you're not gonna get there overnight from a mental perspective. Do the shadow work, practice the clairvoyance, practice the gratitude, and honestly and earnestly seek to get out of these thoughts and feelings. Because if these thoughts and feelings are not helping you, you gotta leave these things behind. You know what I'm saying? If you have a boyfriend, girlfriend that's not, you know, aligned with your purpose, you gotta leave that man. You gotta leave that man, bitch, nigga behind, or whatever the fuck like that, right? So that's the thing, man. That's all it be, bro. Real shit. You don't gotta, you know, bombard yourself with all that past shit. Let go of that shit. Because here's the thing. Check this out, right? A lot of the times people say shit like, you know, all right, what will happen today should just stay in today. Let me not bring that in tomorrow. But it's crazy how the subconscious mind can bring up stuff that happened like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago, and shit like that. And you know, bring that into the present moment. So, you know, leave the past in the past. That shit is dead and gone. Ain't nothing you can do to change it. But if you keep allowing that shit to affect you and shit like that, right? You're not going to be able to, you know, be light and free to create that reality, you know? Like, stop carrying that luggage. Put that shit down and go be free and do something else. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because I literally wrote down today's topic and shit like that. But you know what? Because I'm thinking, I'm like, you know what? Since it's Sagittarius season right now, I'm like, yo, let me just go based upon faith. Because if you're into astrology or anything like, Sagittarius season is about, you know, expansion. It's about jumping into things based upon faith. And, you know, not being so analytical like Virgo, or not thinking and communicating so much like Gemini and shit like that. No. At this time, just do things based upon faith. You know, Sagittarius a lot of the times help you with that energy of being more light, more free. That's why Sagittarius is the sign of adventure, the sign of travel. And it's not even the sign, it's just the energy signature itself. So this moment of time in Sagittarius season, jump into things based upon more faith. Have more faith in yourself. You know, there's a right time to have faith, and there's a bad time to have faith and shit like that. Because, like, faith is just the ability to expand. You know, but not everything need to be expanded upon. So we all have access to attributes and characteristics, but how we use these attributes and characteristics is going to be, you know, up to you. And, you know, again, just look at your experiences and shit like that, and you will start to learn what's right and what's wrong for you and shit like that. With that being said, everybody, love everybody. Take care. I'm going to see you all on tomorrow's topic. Peace out. Source bliss. I was going to say God bliss, but I don't like the word God. I prefer the word source. Because, like, you know, God is like kind of dogmatic and shit like that. So I like source and shit like that. So, you know, source bliss. Peace out, everybody. Real shit.